Continuing with the CumulusCI trail, this is Module 5, Manage Package. You can see this is just live. So we're getting ready to release the Manage Package, and so we go to that, and what it's doing is giving us instructions on how to do an install, but says you're not going to do these steps because you're going to do it in the Trailhead. And so if we drop down into it, what it's saying here is the challenge is you want to connect CumulusCI to our org, this one, and authorize it and then install it. So how do we do all that? So we're going to go back up here and we're going to see they're using Sandbox. So what I did was to say, all right, let's go back and see how we've done it in past modules. And this is looking at the original setup. And what you're seeing is when we originally set it up, we used CCI Service Connect Dev Hub. I thought, okay. So I went out and looked at the CumulusCI instructions, and what they have is an org connect command, and also then what they're saying is that it looks like it's basically just connect, and then the question is, what's our org name? And it doesn't seem to say it. So we have a way of verifying using CCI org list. But then when I went out and I said, okay, if you're reading ahead and you look at the next one, which is the last one, so this is Module 6, and looking at their install, it turns out in their challenge instructions, they actually show how to connect CumulusCI to a playground using CCI org connect playground. All right, so that's what we're going to do. And what's interesting is that it's saying here, this is how you can figure it out if you have your username and password, or if you need to track it down. There's a way to get there using this trail, which is the get trail playground username password. And then what you're able to do is to reset. And then down here, it's interesting because they show you, you can also do it from kind of reset your password from within the usernames. So given this preamble, what I'm going to do is to go out and follow these instructions and say, first of all, we're going to go out to repository, and we're going to say launch open in Visual Studio. And what that does is pop up Visual Studio when we're back here. And then what we're able to do is to enter the command connect to playground. And then you can see that's pulling up over here. It's pulling up a Salesforce login. But what we know is that we really don't want the admin dev because we're going to be going in on the playground. So instead we're going to go in admin creative badger, this one. So you can enter it, or it may be there as your history. We're going to assume that the password's going to work because it carried, otherwise I could re-enter it. But I'm going to go ahead and log in. It's going to say, do you want to allow access? That's a good sign. I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to allow it. We got the authentication to succeed. And then continuing to follow the instructions in the post-install customize project. What it says is that we can now return to the VS terminal and type in CCI org list. So we're going to go here and enter here, CCI org list. And the good news, it's showing playground as a persistent org. And looking back at the get ready, though the one we're trying to complete, what it does, this is the sandbox example, and what it's showing is that we're returning and we're putting in with flow, run, install, program, sandbox. All right, so now that we've connected to CumuluscI, we've authorized it, now we need to install the final release. And so taking a look at how they did that, I'm seeing this command, CCI flow run install prod, and then the assumption is that we can just use playground here instead. Now just as additional background, I did a search on install prod to see what it said, and what it shows is these are the flow steps that are involved. It doesn't really help me. But also looking out here, this one is different because it's using a flow run dev org to install it. So that's not going to be right because this one is different. So instead what I'm going to do is to use this, copy it, and then append to it, go back out here, and assuming we're all still here, what I'm going to do is to paste this in and then type playground and let that run. It's telling me I've got an error. So trying one more time, what I'm going to do is to use that and then say playground. And this is based on looking at the instructions. We've got this -org with this is the org name behind it. And so let's see if that actually is going to work. So I've got that, and I'm going to say character return and give that a try. And things are happening. So that seemed to be successful, 49 seconds. That's pretty quick. What we're going to do then is go here and let's go take a look at browser for playground. And let's see if it's going to launch. And launching the app, if I go out to sales just to see what's there, and I take a look to see if we have an object called deliveries. So I'm going to type here delivery, and it looks like we've got deliveries. So that seems to be at least a starting point. Let me now go see if the challenge is going to work. So though I just tested, let me go ahead and launch it this way so that we make sure there's a connection back to this. Again, same way, we can look here to see if there's a deliveries tab. And there is a deliveries tab. So what I'll do is to go back to here, and we've done that. So let me check the challenge and see what they'll tell us. There's an issue processing your verification. How's that? So I refreshed and relaunched, and let me see if I click it now what it's going to tell me.